I'd like to reconvene back into the Finance Committee. We just exited the executive session. Mr. Shields?
We came out of the executive session at 7:19 p.m., and I will make a motion to adjourn finance.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we're out of finance. Before we start council this evening, we do have a public hearing that we have to do. So this time, I open the public hearing, and it's a public hearing to consider an amendment to the contract establishing and governing the City of Medina, Montville Township Joint Economic Development District to add certain property to the district. Albrecht, Inc. at 5864 Worcester Pike Road, Medina. I call on Mrs. Marshall to explain this amendment, then I'll ask for people in favor of it and the people opposed to it. So, Mrs. Marshall?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. So Albrecht Incorporated owns this parcel, and it's actually located in Montville Township, although it is surrounded by all City of Medina property. But they do wish to join our Joint Economic Development District that the city has with Montville Township. And so we're calling this an outlot parcel, which will house a new quick service restaurant. And that project entails a little over $3 million investment and probably about 30 new jobs and little over $560,000 in payroll. The state law requires a public hearing to be held, and so obviously we are in support of this, bringing this parcel formally into our Joint Economic Development District. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody that wishes to speak in favor of the amendment to bring in the parcel on 5864 Worcester Pike Road?
This gentleman's coming up.
There's somebody walking behind there. Okay. Okay. Oh, is it? Okay. Okay, this is Joe? Yes?
Yes.
Well-
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Joe Albrecht. I'm the president of Albrecht Incorporated. We're the owners of the parcel, and we're excited to develop it as part of our South Court Village project. As Kimberly said, it's about 0.9 acres, a little less than an acre, and it's really surrounded by Medina. And we're excited for it to be considered to be part of the JED. It's important for the development project. Being part of the JED is really a great benefit to the parcel. So we hope you'll look favorably on our request to be part of the JED.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak in favor of adding the parcel to the JED? Is there anybody that wishes to speak in opposition to adding the parcel to the JED? Well, hearing none, I call the public hearing closed. At this time, I'd like to call the February 24th, 2025 council meeting to order. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Coin.
Oh, we got to do.
Oh, you got to do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead. Well, at this time we have a new member of council, and I was trying to jump ahead a little too quickly because you can't call the roll until you're officially kind of sworn in.
Good point.
So we're going to do that first. At this time, I'd like to have Chet Simmons. He's the Ward 1 council representative, and he'll be sworn in this evening by the Honorable Mayor Dennis Hanwell, and the Bible will be held by his wife.
And daughter and granddaughters.
Oh, and daughter and granddaughters. I think they're up. Bring them all up. They can participate too.
Nice job, Jenny.
You don't need to read it. It's okay. It's okay.
You good?
She's good.
Oath of office, State of Ohio, Medina County. I, Chet L. Simmons,
I, Chet L. Simmons,
being duly sworn,
being duly sworn,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Charter and ordinances of the City of Medina, Ohio,
the Charter and ordinances of the City of Medina, Ohio,
and will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
and will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
devolving upon me
devolving upon me
as a Ward 1 councilman
as a Ward 1 councilman
for the City of Medina,
for the City of Medina,
Medina County, Ohio.
Medina County, Ohio.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now I guess I can move to the roll call. So will the clerk please call the roll?
Coin.
Here.
DeSalvo. Hare.
Here.
Rose.
Here.
Shields.
Here.
Simmons.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
Reading of the minutes,
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
I move that the minutes from the regular meeting of February 10, 2025, as prepared and submitted by the clerk, be approved.
Second?
Any discussion on the minutes? Will the clerk please call the roll on the approval of the minutes?
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Reports of standing committees. The Finance Committee met prior to council this evening and discussed many items. This will be in the next council meeting, and we'll meet again prior to our next council meeting. So Health, Safety, and Sanitation, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. The mayor and I will be attending the Life Support Team Advisory Board meeting this coming Thursday. Other than that, I have no other report.
Thank you. Public Properties, Mr. Shields.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled and no report this evening.
Special Legislation, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a meeting several weeks ago regarding the quadricycles. It is on the agenda this evening for council's approval, and I hope that we all agree that we can move this forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Streets and Sidewalks, Ms. Hare.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing to report and no meeting schedule.
Okay. I can't call on you, Chet, because you're not appointed to the committee yet. We got to do that later on, but you will have your chance. Okay, so we have requests for council action. We have several for the Finance Committee. We have 2545 advance requests, 2546 budget amendments, 2547 expenditures of Fanning and Howie MCRC, 2548 replacement of scale cluster at Medina Municipal Court, 2549 expenditure for TEGOH IT Department, 2550 fiscal year 25 CHIP partnership agreement, 2551 bids for West Liberty, South Elmwood, West Washington waterline improvements, 2552 needs assessment and feasibility study for Medina Municipal Complex, 2553 municipal court renovation, guaranteed maximum price agreement number 2, 2554 ODOD brownfield remediation program grant application, 2555 discussion possible amendment to ordinance number 16222 hunting, and 2556 cybersecurity liability insurance renewal. Reports of municipal officers. Mayor Hamwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. The United Way of Summit Medina Counties is offering free tax prep for households earning less than $67,000 a year. To schedule, you can dial not 991. You can schedule 211. You can dial 211 or go to the website www.uwsummitmedina.org/FEC. The 31st Annual Medina Ice Festival was held in the Historic District February 14th through 17th. This year there were 176 carvings, some as big as 10 blocks. I know Albrecht, if Mr. Albrecht is still here, Acme was the title sponsor. Well done by those who had planned it and the help from Main Street. What was interesting is the museum this year gathered information on where the visitors were from. 40% were from Medina, and the other 60% were from New York, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, California, Washington, Florida, Kentucky, North Carolina, and then Ohio outside of Medina. The annual Black History Month service will be held at Second Baptist Church at 451 Bronson Street this Thursday at February 27th at 7 p.m., and all are welcome. I'd also like to congratulate the Medina County Historical Society for the following 2 awards. January 3rd of this year, the National Park Service, Department of Interior, listed the McDowell Phillips House on the National Register of Historic Places. And then on February 11th of this year, the Cleveland Restoration Society and AIA Cleveland awarded the Medina County Historical Society, the City of Medina, and Main Street Medina the Award of Excellence for the preservation of a community building, the Medina War Bond building that was moved from Medina Hospital to McDowell Phillips House property and was historically reconditioned. Well done on both to the Historical Society members. And then last but not least, we had a water line break in the service offices, which house service and engineering. Those offices have been temporarily relocated to the lower level of City Hall in the multipurpose room, and they'll be down there until further notice, hopefully back upstairs by the next council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Durham, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a reminder to all residents, the City of Medina does have a city income tax. I know a lot of times I get questions about what is and what is not in the city. You can look that up at the county auditor's website, or you can call and we'll look it up for you. The filing is through, we handle the income tax through RITA, so we don't collect it here ourselves. RITA does. Their website is rita-ohio.com. You can get forms and everything you need, or you can file online there. Just remember that we have an income tax. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huber, Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have any report. Chet, welcome to council. It'll be good to work with you.
Thank you.
Ms. Marshall, Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple items to note for council and the public this evening. First, our next round of ribbon cuttings are scheduled for Friday, March 14th. Right now, we just have one on the agenda, and that's for Coldstream Air MX, which is an aviation maintenance mechanic shop. That's a brand-new business at our very own airport. And Mr. Huber actually said he's going to come to that one. I think it's the only one he's ever been to. So I'm very excited about that, because never say never. And then the next item is we have moved forward with hiring Cunningham and Associates across the street to do a survey of the 426 West Liberty site. That's the former Yo Sunoco gas station. Is the first thing that we wanted to get done under the grant, is to actually get the survey. And we have advertised for qualifications for a consultant to do the environmental assessments, and those qualifications are due this Friday, February 28th. So we'll keep you posted, because once we review those and have a recommendation, we'll bring that back to council for approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Kinney, Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chet, welcome. Happy to have you here. Also, I'd like to highlight some activity that several of our city employees took over the last week, towards the end of last week. Last Thursday, they responded to a call of a dog that was stuck in a icy pond. The dog had gone out into the middle of the pond where the water was melted and fell inside the water, was struggling to get out. The dog may have been in there for up to an hour. We had 2 Medina police officers respond, and Captain Ingersoll from the fire department responded as well. The 2 officers were able to work together using rope and a throw cushion and a catch pole. They were able to get the dog successfully out of the water that it was stuck in. As you can see here shortly, they'll be able to pull it out. The dog, throughout that entire ordeal, you can hear in the audio, is screaming, essentially calling out for help. So we're very fortunate that they were able to get the dog out. We'd also like to thank, obviously, the caller that called for the dog and recognized that it was in distress, and the Medina Veterinary Clinic, who they took the dog to, and they were able to help warm the dog up. It was obviously very cold, likely suffering from hypothermia. So that was a nice save for the officers. Very fortunate outcome. Also, I'd like to thank dispatchers in Geneva and Undercoffer. They were able to manage all the radio traffic, the phone calls, and the different agencies that came out to help with that. Interestingly enough, about an hour later, they responded to Lafayette Township for a horse that had fallen on the ice and was stuck on its side. Apparently, horses can't spend extended time on their sides, and obviously the cold ice complicated that, where the body heat of the horse was escaping. And there were a tremendous amount of folks that came out to help for that. Again, Medina Fire Department responded to that. We had 3 or 4 officers there assisting. There were a bunch of folks from the neighborhood, Armstrong Cable, who happened to be in the area working. I think Andre from the Streets Department responded, and ultimately Lloyd's responded with a tow truck, and they were able to use that lift and all the personnel to get the horse back up on its feet and back into the barn, where they were able to warm that critter up as well, and all was good with that horse also. So it was an interesting day of helping animals on Thursday. So we're proud of our staff. They do great work like that day in, day out. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Toth, LST Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Life Support Team finished 2024 with 3,766 calls for the city of Medina, which is 244 calls more than the previous year. All 3 entities, we responded to 5,819, which is 460 more than the previous year. And through January with the city, we're at 364 runs, and we're already up 57 runs. So we're on pace for 6,000 calls this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gladys, Building Official.
Thank you, Mr. President. The grocery store projects are keeping the building department very busy. North Court Myers Grocery Store construction is near completion. We will be finalizing our inspections this week. Store management has started to occupy the store. Store is scheduled to open in May. Exact date has not been set. North Court Bueller's Grocery Store is underway on a $1.5 million interior alteration project. There will be minor inconvenience to customers. Contractors are working 3rd shift. The South Court, the new Acme store project is on schedule. With this week's mild weather, will allow the exterior facade work to move forward. The goal is for the store to open in mid to late July. That ends my report.
Thank you. Mr. Worley, Parks and Recreation Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple updates. The Medina County Sanitary Engineer's Office is starting a project at Huffman Cunningham Park along the west branch of the Rocky River, doing a restoration of the stream bank that's encroaching a sanitary sewer. That project tree clearing started today and will run through April 30th, and access will be limited to the park throughout that project. Secondly, our playground construction at Ken Cleveland Park is to begin next week, weather permitting. And lastly, I would like to thank the Parks Department and various other city departments that worked for the Ice Festival for several days before it, putting out about 700 center blocks and all of the stands. True team effort with Elegant Ice and our city staff to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patton, City Engineer.
Thank you. Council may remember last fall, we started the East Reagan Rehabilitation Project. Pulled off for the winter. The contractor is going to be mobilizing and restarting that project later on this week. It'll probably take about 6 to 8 weeks to complete. So,
Thank you. Chief Walters, Fire Department.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Dutton, Planning and Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report other than welcome Councilman Simmons to council.
Thank you. We have confirmation of council appointments. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to appoint Chet Simmons to the following committees and I guess they're all committees and boards. We have the Finance Committee, Special Legislation Committee. He will be Chair of the Water and Utilities Committee for a term expiring 12/31/25, to the Access Committee for a term expiring 12/31/25, to the CRA Housing Committee for a term expiring 12/31/26, and the ECID Board, Chair of the Water and Utility Committee serves on that board.
I will make a motion to confirm the council appointments of Mr. Simmons to the various boards mentioned by Mr. Coyne.
Second.
Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, welcome, Chet. Now you're official on all these different committees. So, notices, communications, and petitions. We have one for a liquor permit, not to object to the issuance of a new D1 permit to Hemingway's LLC doing business as Hemingway's Underground at 236 South Court Street.
Move not to object.
Second, not to object?
Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Shields.
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Unfinished business, we have none. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public who are permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during a portion of the council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments are redirected to the chair, and a reasonable time limit of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there's a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the rear microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered in the minutes. And members and opportunity, there will be an opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting determined by the chair or by a vote of the majority of members, council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council at this time? This is an opportunity. Don't miss it. Okay, we're going to miss it. All right. Introduction and consideration of ordinances and resolutions. At this time, I entertain a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on the following ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 4025, 4125, 4225, 4325, Resolution 4425, Ordinance 4525, and Ordinance 4725.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
I will make a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings of tonight's ordinances and resolutions.
Second.
Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Simmons.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Ordinance 4025, an ordinance amending ordinance number 20924 passed November 25th, 2024, amendments to the 2025 budget, the 2024 carry forward.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Durham?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is reappropriation of the unspent appropriations from 2024. But before we move on to this, the mayor pointed out to me that ordinance 4625 was not included in your list that we're suspending the rules on.
Oh, I do see that now. Okay, we'll go back after that if we do this one.
Okay.
So, okay, you're finished then? Okay. Okay, yeah, this is just to carry forward from all the previous years. It's a culmination of various years' savings of the department heads that we usually let them carry it forward and don't take it back from them because they can use it on various projects in their department. So that's what ordinance 4025 is about. Any further discussion on that? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 4025 passes 6-0.
So at this time, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on ordinance number 4625.
I will move to amend my motion to include 4625 on suspending the 3 readings tonight.
Second.
Any discussion on adding ordinance number 4625 to the motion to suspend the rules on 3 readings? Clerk, please call the roll.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, now we're back on track at ordinance number 4125, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept a storm sewer easement on Hillview Way.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Patton?
Thank you, Mr. President. We discovered that a portion of an existing city storm sewer actually ran outside of the right-of-way onto private property on Hillview Way. We worked with the property owner, who was kind enough to grant us an easement for the total cost of $1.
Ooh. Pretty expensive. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption of ordinance.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Ordinance 4125 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 4225, ordinance approving the petition of Albrecht, Inc. to be included within the City of Medina Montville Township Joint Economic Development District pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 71576.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President.
Mr. Shields?
The emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause?
Discussion on the ordinance and the emergency clause. Ms. Marshall?
Thank you, Mr. President. This request is for Albrecht Incorporated, located at 5864 Worcester Pike Road, parcel number 03011A01-025, to approve their petition to join the City of Medina Montville Township Joint Economic Development District. They have completed the petition. We had the public hearing earlier this evening, and the request for the emergency clause is so that they can get started on a project. I believe there is a lease that is pending, several pieces of the due diligence, and this was one of them. So that's what the emergency clause is for. Thank you.
Further discussion on the emergency clause and/or the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance.
Shields.
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 4225 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 4325, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Rickard Insurance for the city's property and general liability insurance for a period of April 1st, 2025 through March 31st, 2026.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mayor Hamel?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is to renew our liability insurance effective April 1st, 2025, in an amount not to exceed $250,000. Our renewal is about a 6.5% increase, and per Weichert, the average increases they're seeing across the state are more in the 10 to 15% range. So they credited our accident review committee and policies and procedures that we have in place to reduce our risk and their risk of insuring us. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Simmons.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 4325 passes 6-0.
Resolution 4425, a resolution acknowledging support for the Lake Medina improvements presented by Medina County Park District.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mayor Hamel?
Yes, so we lease Medina Lake to the Medina County Parks. Their director, Nathan Epping, is here if there's any questions of council. He submitted a letter showing their projected or proposed improvements over the next few years, and I'd respectfully ask for council's authorization of those.
Thank you. Mr. Shields?
This also originally came through Public Properties, and Nate was there to explain and had a PowerPoint for us as well, but some really exciting improvements at Lake Medina, including a new staircase from the Granger Road side parking lot, a pavilion, a boat launch or kayak launch, some public art on the pump house. So just all wonderful enhancements. We appreciate our relationship with Park District and everybody on council, from Public Properties to the full council. When we brought it through finance, we're very excited about these upcoming improvements. So thank you.
Yes, thanks, Nate. Thanks for attending. Anybody have any questions? Will the clerk please call the roll on adoption of the resolution?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Resolution 4425 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 4525, an ordinance amending Chapter 529 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Medina, Ohio by the addition of a new section 52909 relative to the regulation of commercial quadricycles within the City of Medina.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mayor Hamel?
Thank you, Mr. President. We discussed this several times at the Finance Committee. We feel it's prudent to permit the operation with the limitations that we have listed in the ordinance. The limitation listed in the ordinance is, the limitations listed in the ordinance are all acceptable to those that are proposing the quadricycle in the city, and I'd respectfully ask for council's authorization of same.
Thank you. Mr. Rose, you want anything to add to that?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to thank Chief Kinney for his input with this, and several of the residents, especially in the area on the north end of the square, who offered their input on what the traffic looks like during rush hour. So looking forward to this.
Yes,
I
and
think it's going to be a nice addition.
And the main impetus of the ordinance is to prohibit the quadricycle from using certain streets during certain periods of time, which is generally rush hour. And that'll be 7 days a week, usually between 4 and 6, I think it was, if I remember
Correct.
correctly. So that would hopefully not inhibit the traffic flow, because as we know, we have a lot of traffic going through the city already. We don't want a vehicle going 5 miles an hour to slow it down any further. But I don't think it'll hit a deer, though. That's the one thing I think that
It would lose.
we don't have to worry about that. But I think the quadricycle is going to be, it's an event vehicle for parties, for various events. So I think it'll be used by a majority of the members of the community. I know that Barberton has one and Wadsworth has one, and it's been used by various organizations for different events, birthday parties and other organizational events. So hopefully it will get the use that we anticipate it will. Is there any further discussion on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 4525 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 4625, an ordinance authorizing the finance director to make certain fund advances.
Move to approve?
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Durham.
It's in advance to cover a grant for Brownfield.
Thank you. Any questions? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Ordinance 4625 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 4725, ordinance amending ordinance number 20924, passed November 25th, 2024, amendments to the 25 budget.
Move to approve?
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Durham.
Most of this deals with the previously mentioned advance for the grant on the Brownfield, and the rest are repaying other outstanding advances.
Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Ordinance 4725 passes 6-0.
Council comments. Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple things. Chet, welcome. Does it feel the same as it did 20 years ago?
I sat there, but yeah.
You got to change with him. you know. No, welcome. And your part of your family looked great tonight.
Thank you.
I mean, they all was here. I just meant there were some parts that weren't here. So, the other thing I just wanted to mention briefly is we're living in a different time, and we will all survive. Just it's more important than ever that we just remember to be kind to one another. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hare?
I, too, wanted to welcome Chet to council. Happy to be sitting next to you and looking forward to working with you.
Chet?
I just want to say I attended the last Thursday at Fellowship Baptist. Very nice worship service, dealing with a lot of poetry, and they just did a fantastic job. My pleasure to be there.
Thank you. Mr. Shields?
I just wanted to welcome you, Chad. I've worked with you in so many different ways in different groups over the years, but it's nice to be on council with you. So thank you for stepping up and doing this as well for Ward 1.
Mr. Rose?
Well, Chet, welcome. I go back to Field Day 1994.
Yes.
Okay. Two fathers chaperoning our kids. There was and it's been a nice relationship off and on ever since then. So welcome aboard. As Councilman Simpson related, we are living in a different kind of time, and I'd like to go back to the 70s and 80s, when shortly after the Congress approved or created, I guess, the EPA, and with that they created a bunch of unelected bureaucrats to set forth limits that things were supposed to, you were supposed to meet this limit, and because of, like, say, particulate matter or carbon monoxide point, whatever the measurement was, organizations, companies had to meet it or suffer fines or whatever. So because of that, me particular in the Coke plant at Republic Steel back then, I was fortunate enough to keep my job, but thousands of people lost their jobs throughout the nation because of an unelected bureaucrat saying, "Thou shalt." Thousands of steel auto workers lost their jobs because some unelected bureaucrat said, "Thou shalt." And the only people who were able to meet the numbers were the Japanese, because they had newer facilities, because we blew the hell out of them in '44 and helped them build new ones. So here we are, we're dealing with old, antiquated equipment that we had to retrofit because some unelected bureaucrats said, "Thou shalt." So we are repeating history again. We got through it before, we adjusted, we'll get through it again, but just remember, it's going to come again in another 50 years. Thank you.
Thank you. And Chet, welcome. You're on all the committees now. There's a lot of work to do, and I know budgeting's coming up, and that's our favorite thing to do. And you'll have to learn all the budgetary processes, but I think we're confident that you could do so. So with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.